been researching you guys a little bit, and you guys have a very incredible, powerful sound. I guess first of all, how did this band come to be? How did you guys form?
The band was formed a long time ago before me, probably about 12 years ago now. It was just a group of friends that all lived in like southern Jersey. Um, and then Tom Barber joined the band. He brought in Adam D'Amico because they were in a band together back before I knew both of them. And then the drummer left around the Bone Kingdom era right before that album came out. And then I hopped in and continued that, EP cycle with them and touring. And I mean, we didn't really do much. We did like a few 1 week weekenders, super light stuff. But I was about 18 at the time. And then yeah, from there, just siphoning through members and whatnot, developing our sound. I mean, me and Adam were pretty locked in together because I just come from a songwriting background and I wasn't really familiar with too much death metal drum playing, but I knew theory. I knew, once I could pinpoint like what drummers were doing to create those sounds, I kind of just went head first and tried to develop that sound with Adam. And then from there, it's just been growing and growing and growing. And, all the ideas we have now are almost ideas that we had back then. It's just we have the tools and the playing ability to really just go head first into a lot of this sound. So but I mean, as far as the band forming and joining, I mean, it's just a long, group of one person bringing in another person, bringing in another person, just kind of create this, like-minded group of people that all have the same goal. Really, this is not a band like that was developed. It started as a band of friends, but as it progressed, it's become a business. And when I joined, it was very, uh, business like, it's very like, do your thing or else, you'll be replaced. You gotta hold your own in this band. So, but luckily now we are all friends, like, through business comes friendships, through touring, you know what I mean? So it's not like, oh, we're not friends, it's all business. It's just that's the core of it. We're all here to do our best to display our talents and just really write something special.
Yeah, like I said, you guys have a very clean sound. It is incredible how I guess high quality this music is because I see a lot of indie metal bands that are more into that raw garage sound. Um, I guess what is your background in music? You said you're songwriting oriented, but what background do you have?
I mean, I just like started when I was a kid. My cousin Dylan, he lives in Staten Island. He was a phenomenal guitar player. He was my brother's age, which he's 4 years older than me. So I think I was probably like 10 years old, like starting to write, maybe even younger, like 9 or 8 years old, like writing with them when they were like, 13. And like he had, knowledge of how to work like Cubase, like a DAW. And like he just like, he was a young prodigy. So we all just like wrote songs together. And I feel like that like was the beginning of me just like loving songwriting and like seeing us be in a upstairs room creating the song and then burning it to a CD, showing it to everyone I knew when I was like 10 years old, being like, hey, look at me. And I thought that was great. And then playing, I always loved playing drums, that's undeniable. But I think songwriting is very important to me just because to create something is way more fulfilling than playing other people's stuff. So, I've always latched onto songwriting. And, we played, what was cool at the time. I was very like, when I was 12, 13 years old, I was playing like MySpace era, like Dance Gavin Dance esque, like um metalcore, so to say, and then transitioned it to pop punk, playing with pop punk bands, which was aggressive still, very high energy, but nothing of this caliber. And then after the pop punk band, I took a rest from playing drums entirely for about a year, almost 2 years. And, I was just a teenager, 15, 16 years old, just wanted to like hang out with my friends, no one in my town really played music. So it wasn't really like the cool thing to do to be a drummer. And I kind of fell victim to that and just strayed from the path of musicianship and started to just be, a teenager. But then I got roped back in shortly before my 17th birthday, and I was just about to get my license, about to have a car, and I was hit up by a band, all a group of friends I'm still really great friends with. They were called Cabin Theory, and they were like the big, heavy local band. They would always get on the big shows, and I played with their previous bands, and I got invited into that band when I was 17, and I had a car, so I can like go out of town and start jamming with different musicians. And then we played a show with Lorna Shore, and then I became friends with Tom, and then from there, I was given a CD like, hey, learn how to drum like this, like literally like a physical CD that I put in my car, and it was Faceless, Necrophagist, Job for a Cowboy, you know, Obscura, like just like all these really sick bands. And I was like, holy shit, like these guys want me to play like this. Like that's a lot. But I just really wanted this, So through that, I wasn't always the best. I definitely did. There was a big learning curve with learning that stuff. But once I was really settled in and figured out how to play this stuff, it's just been great since. I mean, I can definitely formulate ideas, and my songwriting for Lorna Shore, I think has just gotten better and better as I'm more comfortable with the style I'm playing. And then still coming from that background, I have that raw aggression, that's that songwriting purpose in my head where it's like, all right, like this blast beat is good, but like what's a more intense blast beat to bring in this next part? How can I slow it down, speed it up, da 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 da. So I think it's cool that like my songwriting background started here, and then I just kind of adopt those properties or qualities to Lorna Shore and just kind of write however I feel sounds good, and I'm luckily people like it.
Yeah, your drumming is incredible. I think it's one of the things that really stands out in your music, along with the I don't know, like the bass is incredible as well. But your drums have fantastic sound. Um, how difficult is it to adapt from a different genre into the metal genre because drums are powerful in metal.
Yeah, no, it's and growing up I love Slipknot, I love Slayer, I love these bands, but I would attempt to play like some Slipknot songs and maybe like a riff or two here and there, like Duality before I forget like some of the easier songs. But like transitioning, it's just stamina. It's just really stamina. And I was not a very like fit, healthy person, and I'm still not. But like you can look at how I looked back then and how I look now, and like it's pushing myself to play that hard and get physically just there. Um, it definitely just like brought me into the genre with just like a clear mind and just like trying to get I don't know, the most power and aggression out of everything. And like, and it's like I didn't really have any rules in place, like I just kind of heard things and I was like, all right, I want to play like that. How do I play like that? And then I learned about heel toe, our first tour we ever did. And I was like, oh man, I'm like busting my ass trying to play these bass drum parts and like hurting my body and just really not getting anywhere because a lot of those guys that are so relentless have been playing this death metal stuff since that was what they grew up playing. So I kind of just had to fast track that a little bit and just figure out different techniques and like really use like my practice schedule and just things teachers have taught me, and applying that. And it's funny because now I'm going like backwards as I've gotten forward and blast beating. Now I'm starting to go back to, just classic rudiments, classic training, marching band techniques. So it's like everything can be applied to death metal. It's really a simple genre. I would say it's a very simple thing to grasp. It's just the stamina. The stamina is what really holds people back. And I think, some people can't play so fast right off the jump and they get discouraged. But, I tell people to practice slow. If you practice slow, your body will remember things that you won't even realize. And then, it just makes things easier. When a kid picks up a pair of sticks and buys the best double kick pedals and then they're still not playing fast, it's like, well, I learned on crappy PDP $100, pedals. And then it wasn't until I joined Lorna Shore, I was like, all right, these things aren't cutting it. So I got a pair of DWs and even that wasn't cutting it. So I got this and I got that. And it eventually led to Axis pedals. And I'm like, okay, these are the tool for the job. You know what I mean? Like you need to do, and like, I love playing all kick drum pedals. I have different pairs of kick pedals that I use and they all bring me different inspiration. When I sit on my Axis pedals, I just want to play fast. If I sit on a pair of Iron Cobras, I want to jam out. I want to like feel the drum. I want to, play through the drums. But, and I do like to hit hard, even though we are, a fast band. I do think the my confidence and just aggression behind the kit kind of brings a lot of that fury out. But, still learning, still going, still trying to figure it out. It's definitely it's an endless I'm still finding drummers from 20 years ago that are doing what I'm trying to do now. So it's just cool to kind of pay homage to those drummers and see things they did and go, all right, well, the recording quality was not there back then. People don't even know what this guy's playing behind all this black metal noise. Like you said, a lot of things are raw, but those guys are ripping, like Dark Funeral, Mayhem. All these guys have been ripping since the 90s, even late 80s. So it's like, paying homage to those guys, Nick Barker, um, Dominator, Hellhammer, all these guys. I mean, they just, if you've seen them in a room, I'm sure it was the craziest thing anyone's ever seen back then. So I'm just trying to like be that plus a little more, bring it to like a different level of just why are we going this fast? Like let's hope my knees make it to 40, 45 if the band lasts that long and I got to play Hellfire as a 50-year-old man or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always the thing with metal bands, the longevity. Like you said, your drummers, they give out because that stamina doesn't last for too long. Um,
Yeah.
aside from that, yeah, like you said, you guys are all friends, but you're business oriented because it's a band, it's a business nonetheless.
Hmm.
How's that writing process since you are very involved in the songwriting process?
I mean, in the past, it was definitely just me and Adam stuck in a room doing everything, him going to work. I'd meet up with him after he got out of work, vice versa, and just meeting up in his basement and just figuring it out. I mean, we used to do Guitar Pro only, send each other stuff back and forth, and just full on writing Guitar Pro. Then, now we have MIDI drums, good, it's very easy to do demos at home now compared to when we first started. And now it's much more of a team process because we have, like I said, like-minded, driven, very, confident members that, we can all sit in a house or a room or separate rooms, get things done, oh, hey, invite this person in. What do you think? Get a lot of outside opinion. I think that's why this is the most like cohesive um, release for us because everyone was written with each other in mind rather than, all right, I'm going to do my best on drums. Adam's going to rip up the guitar, whatever the vocals are. I mean, the instruments sound good, so it doesn't matter what the lyrics or the vocal patterns are. And, production would just be an afterthought in the studio. Like, all right, let's add a little bell and whistle here to follow the guitar. Let's add an 808. Now it's like, our producer is like a sixth member or fifth member of the band. So it's like, he has great ideas that he brings to the table. Will, has his own ideas as far as like, oh, I could do something really good with that part, even if it's a part that we don't even like. Oh, like so he's like, no, like, I got like a cool vocal pattern, and that will inspire the rest of us. So it's much more inspiring with each other now. Just like, and then Andrew, bringing the production, to the forefront as far as just like articulating orchestrations and different sounds. So everyone's kind of got a job and we stick to that job and also chiming on each other. But I let everyone do their thing. You know what I mean? I don't know what's best for the guitar. I don't know what's best for vocals. I'll suggest something, but even if it's not my idea, it doesn't matter. If like it's not like my idea is the best idea. I think we all have that mentality, which definitely makes it more, you know, just a team effort. And teamwork makes the dream work. That's what they say.
Definitely. And with your new release and hopefully with touring coming back, are you guys looking forward to going out and showcasing what you guys have done, you know, during this whole time of being in quarantine and pandemic?
Oh yeah, I mean we're headed out in about 2.5, or I think it's 2 weeks from today. We start a 2.5 week run, and it's something short. We didn't want to do something too long. We have some other obligations the rest of this year that we locked in that we got to get done. We're working on a record. This EP was kind of just to hold people over, introduce Will, and just do something with our lives for the last 18 months. And I'm glad it came out the way it did. I mean, we're all very proud of it. really went in expecting nothing. I mean, we could have went and recorded for that 2 weeks and just not released it. Like we didn't really have a plan, and then things turned out well. So we're like, all right, let's get some good art. Let's get some good videos lined up. We really believe in this. So it came out at the right time because yeah, we can go play these songs now, and then also play Immortal songs in America because we never played Immortal, King of Deception. Some of the songs off that record in the U.S. We only played it, a handful of times in Europe. So yeah, it's cool. Even though that record, had its own thing going on with it, it's nice to be able to play those songs live and people see it in a different light because I mean it sounds great, and especially with the lineup that we have now, I think people are seeing the best version of Lorna Shore.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. You guys are an awesome band. I will definitely be keeping an eye out for that LP coming out when you guys are done. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.